Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. Today I wanted to show you guys my newest tutorial. I wanted to hop on here just so that I could announce it because I'm so excited about this new purse. This is the first of many, so get ready. But this is a totally free pattern. I will have a PDF printable over at the blog post, which of course everything will always be linked either in the information icon or down below. So you'll have to print it out and then put it all together. So here it is. This is my crossbody purse. I'm kind of calling this the weekender bag. So it has a flap on the inside. There is a zipper pouch for your valuables and then two little slots there so you can keep your things nice and organized. I absolutely love this pattern. It is so fun and such a great little bag to have. And I went ahead and made it out of this beautiful cork fabric. So you can make this out of a canvas, a cotton, or even make it really fancy and use some beautiful cork. So if you're interested in learning how to make this, like I said, all the information will be at the blog post. And I also want to just say thank you so much to my newest patron. It is my very first patron over on Patreon. So if you have never heard of Patreon before, it's basically a platform where people and viewers can go and support creators. So if you're looking to do something like that, I'll have links below. But thank you so much to Evangelina for being my very first patron. I appreciate it so much, and it of course goes to help support my channel and pay for all the materials so I can keep making for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut out our pattern. So you're going to go over to the blog post and you're going to print out the PDF pattern. This is a free pattern and we're just going to assemble the pattern first. So you're going to cut out 4 different pieces and they're all going to be numbered in order, and you're just going to place them on your table, butting the paper up to each other, and then we're just going to put a piece of tape along that seam there. You're going to make sure that all the side edges are all lined up. You're going to cut your pattern out on the fold. If you wanted to double up and print out 2 of these patterns and make one large pattern, that would be great if you're using something like leather or the cork fabric, since it's harder to cut things on the fold with those stiffer materials. But if you're just going to make it out of canvas or regular cotton, then you can definitely just cut it right on the fold to double up your pattern. So then you'll have your 2 pieces of fabric for your zipper pocket on the inside. Those measurements will not be in the PDF, but they will be in the blog post. That is also optional. You don't have to have that pocket if you don't want to. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some fusible interfacing onto the back of my lining. I'm just using a medium weight just to make it a little bit more rigid. I don't necessarily think it was necessary, but I do enjoy having a little bit more stiffness in the flap. So even if you want to apply a little bit to the flap, I would do that. So first thing I'm going to do is make my zipper pouch insert. So I'm just going to take my zipper with the zipper pulled down and put it on the short side of my zipper fabric. The outer fabric, I guess you could say. And then put the lining on top, sandwiching the zipper. We're just going to sew a seam right down that zipper, and then we will open it up, flip it with the right sides out, and then we'll do a top stitch along the zipper teeth again. It's really important to do top stitching when you are making zipper pouches, just because if not, then your lining will more than likely just, get caught in your zipper teeth. So it's really important to do that next step. So from here, we're going to flip up the outer fabric and line it up with the other edge of the zipper, and then flip up the other side of the lining onto the other side of the zipper. And then we'll just sew along this edge. When we go to do the top stitch next, we're going to have to do it a little bit different, and we will have to flip the whole thing right sides out. So once you've sewn that, then you're going to undo the zipper and then flip it. And then while your zipper is open, then you can easily get access to the top of the fabric to do your top stitch along the other side of the zipper. So after that, you're basically done with this zipper pouch. The sides of the pouch will be hidden on the inside of the lining, so you're not going to see them. So having those raw edges out right now is totally fine, but we will get a ruler. If you do have a see-through ruler that has 1/4 of an inch measurements, that is ideal. We are going to take your ruler and we're going to line it up with the bottom of the bag, and we're going to bring it up so that you're about 1/2 inch in. So kind of, we're going to make it sort of like a trapezoid. The bottom of the bag is about 9 inches and the top is a little bit smaller, so we just want to account for that when we put our zipper pouch in. So you're going to make sure that your zipper is pulled, and we'll just cut off that excess fabric to give the shape that we want for our zipper pouch. And we'll just place that to the side, and we will start working on the outer fabric of the bag. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do with your outer fabric is we will fold up the one side like this, so obviously not the flap side, and we're just going to line that up. So this should line up perfectly with the other side, if you know what I mean. And then we're just going to sew down each side. There is a little notch there. We're not going to touch that yet, but make sure you do 1/2 inch seam allowance for this part. So just sew down both sides, and then we're going to flatten that little notch there, lining up your seam with the center, and then we'll just do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance right there. That will give us the make the bag wider, I guess. As you can see, like little pleats. So now I'm just going to flip it right sides out just so I can look at it and admire it and see how it's going to turn out. It's like it's almost finished. This is such a quick and easy bag. I love it. So next we're going to work on the lining. If you're not inserting a zipper pouch, then you would do the lining exactly the way that we did the outer fabric. But because we're not, we're actually going to take that zipper pouch and we're going to line up the side with that seam on the side. Make sure you have it down about 1/2 inch from either side. That will just keep the pouch out of the way for the other seam allowances for when you actually construct your bag. And then we're going to do that on the other side. And if you're wondering, yes, the zipper pouch doesn't go to the base of the bag. So if you do have items in your bag, they could go from side to side. But it is more of a divider, so if you have a large wallet, if you have a notebook, you know, those items will stay on either side. But if you have smaller items such as pens and things, then they'll just fall to the bottom of the purse, which is totally fine. And if you wanted to, you can always just put those in the zipper pouch and you'll be able to find them easily. So we're just going to sew, like I said before, a 1/2 inch seam allowance on either side. And right now the bag kind of looks weird just because it is pulling on on the center of it because of that zipper pouch. But once we turn it right sides out and the sides sort of fold in, then it will all be perfect. And it all makes sense in the end, basically. And then again, we're gonna sew those little notches with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And from here, we're going to create some little tabs. And this will be for, of course, our strap. Yeah. So we're just going to take a piece of fabric, I think it was 2.5 inches wide. We're just going to fold in the edges 1/4 of an inch on both sides and then fold it in half again. We're going to sew down both sides, and that will make our little strap. Of course, if you want to completely omit this strap and have it as just a little clutch that you would, hold in your hand, you can do that. Or you can only maybe make one and then you could have a wristlet. So it's totally up to you what you want to do, but I am going to be putting 2 of these on either side with a couple of 1-inch D-rings. All those little things that I'm using will be linked over at the blog post. So the D-rings, and then we have a magnetic clasp, and then also the sliders. But I will give you a pro tip. All those little things can be found over the Dollar Tree on dog collars. So if you can't find them, then just go there and steal them. Well, steal them, but just like buy some dog collars and just cut them up. That's what I did. So here is a little magnetic closure. You can't get those at the Dollar Tree unless I guess you ripped it off of something else. But I got those over on Amazon or eBay. They're great. I just have a bunch of them, so if I ever need them. So you're going to have two little pieces, a male end and a female end. And right now we're going to install the male end, which is the part that protrudes. We're just going to find the center of the lining flap and then put it in about like 1.5 inches. For this, you have to cut 2 little slits, and I'd like to use my stitch ripper for that. And then we will just push the, so you have to find the center, as you can see the little blue marking, and then I just pushed on either side 2 little slits. And then there will be a little disc, and then you're gonna push those little tabby things outwards, not inwards. I've done it inwards and it doesn't work, so definitely outwards. So now we're going to take the lining of the bag and we will turn it right sides out and then keep the outer fabric inside out so that the right sides are together. We are going to also put those little tabbies with the D-rings on either side of the bag. I just lined those up with the seam of my outer fabric. And then we'll just clip it all into place, making sure all of our seams are lined up and the flap is lined up as best as you can get it. And then we will do a seam all the way around, but we're gonna leave a 4-inch gap right in the front here. So I'm just gonna do 1/4 inch seam allowance. It can get a little bulky in some places depending on the fabric. I would definitely use a sharp needle for this step and or a heavier needle. So if you're using many layers of fabric, you could get a denim needle or even a leather needle, which is really nice and strong so you don't end up busting one off in your face, which I do. So you're just going to slowly, just find all the little corners and make sure that you do it all nicely. And for some reason, when I do a curved edge, if you see my hand placement, that seems to help me guide my machine around those curved edges. And don't get me wrong, it took a long time for me to get good on curves. So if you need to slow down, crank your machine, or do anything like that, feel free. Don't rush the curves because, that's gonna make or break your bag in the end. And we're gonna do a top stitch also. So if you aren't good on your curves, then maybe you can do a few test runs on some scrap pieces of fabric so you can get it just right. So I'm just going to slit those curves so that when I do flip it, they do lay nice and flat. And if you have any bulk in any of the seams, you can just snip off and reduce your seam allowances. And now I'm just going to flip the whole entire bag right sides out through that hole that we left in the front. I'm just going to use a chopstick, and that will help me to poke out all of my corners. And then after, I'm just going to iron it, make sure that all of my edges are nice and straight. I'll turn in the raw edges of the hole that we left for turning, and then I'll just press that also. But before we close up the hole and do our top stitching, we are going to install the other half of our snap into that little hole. So I'm just going to get some chalk and I'm going to mark the other side of my snap. And then I'm just going to push that into my fabric, and then it's going to leave me a perfect placement of where the other half of my snap should go. And then, like before, I'm going to slit my fabric with my little stitch ripper, making sure I don't pierce the lining. So I just put my hand inside there to make sure that I don't go through. And then again, I'm just going to place my other half of my snap and then put that little disc in the back and then push the little tabbies outwards. I love these snaps, they're awesome. Okay, so now you can do a top stitch all the way around. I like to bump my machine up to a 3 for top stitching. I just think it looks a lot more, just better. I don't really have a method or... And then you can decide your strap length. If you wanted to do it just a short little shoulder bag, you could do that. If you wanted to just have one strap that is one size, you can choose your size and measure out your body and, you know, measure from your hip to the other side. Or you can do an adjustable strap. For my adjustable strap, I made my strap 60 inches long, and I made it the exact same way I made those other little straps for the side. So I just took a very long piece of fabric that was 2.5 inches wide, folded in those raw edges, and then folded it again, and then did the top stitching on either side to make my strap. So here is my strap all finished. I'm gonna do this one for you guys just because this is the most tricky one. I do have an adjustable slider. I have a plastic one, not that cute, but they do have some nice metal ones you can definitely pick up. The first thing I'm going to do is take one end of my strap. I'm going to place it through my D-ring, and I'm going to fold it down like 1/4 inch, and then I will put it up against the strap like this. I will clip that into place, and then after I'm going to sew some tacking or a little box there or something. The next we're going to do is take the other side of the strap, making sure your strap isn't twisted, and put it through your slider in and out. Then after, you're going to insert it through the other D-ring, and you're going to put it back through the slider. You're probably going to want to pull the loop like this. This will just make it easier for you to push your end of your strap through. So you're going to push it through and then back out the other side. And then you're just going to do the same thing you did on the other side. You're going to fold it about 1/4 inch, and then that is going to go up against the strap like that. And then you're going to again do a little tacking there. You can do a little box or whatever you want to do. Or even if you have metal rivets, you can totally do that too. So I just clip those into place, and then I think I sewed them. I sewed them off camera, but anyways. Then after that, then you're done. I love how this bag turned out. I'm so obsessed. I want to make them in every color. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And of course, share it with your friends. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.